Imagine you are walking among the ruins of an ancient temple. The late afternoon sun falls upon the stones worn by time. At your feet you see ashes, the remnants of fires that burned long, long ago. Perhaps looking at your own life you feel something similar. You have walked a long path. You have accumulated decades of memories, some bright as midday, others dark as midnight. You feel the weight of mistakes made, opportunities that will not return, losses that left scars on your skin and soul. Society, obsessed with the spring of youth, whispers that your time has passed. It tells you that winter is approaching and that your only destiny is decline, oblivion, and silence. But listen closely. That is a lie. What you hold in your hands or in your ears is not an ordinary book. It is the translation of a forgotten knowledge, a manuscript of transmutation that ancient alchemists guarded closely. They knew a secret that the modern world has lost. To make gold, you need lead. Lead is heavy, grey, opaque. Lead is your failures, lead is your pains, lead is your years of struggle. Young people do not have lead. They are light but poor in substance. You, in contrast, are rich in raw material. Your life has not been spent. It has simply accumulated in the crucible, awaiting the right fire to transform. You are not here to recover lost youth. That would be retreating into ignorance. You are here to perform the great work. You are here to take everything you have lived, every tear, every smile, every wrinkle, and submit it to the fire of spiritual consciousness to convert it into potable gold, wisdom, health, and peace. This audiobook is the operation manual for your inner laboratory. In Part 1, we will learn to look at the past not with regret but with gratitude, understanding that the lead was necessary. In Part 2, we will light the furnace. You will learn to use the power of your subconscious mind, that faithful servant that does not age, to dissolve the knots of resentment and crystallize a new reality. And in Part 3, we will drink the elixir. You will discover that your body can regenerate, that your prosperity can flourish in any season, and that your legacy can be eternal. It is not too late. In fact, it is the perfect moment. The fire is ready, the lead is heavy, the transformation is imminent. Chapter 1, The Crucible of Time, the Wisdom of Pain. Look around you. In the dark corners of your memory, you see piles of a grey, heavy, cold metal. It is the lead of your life. They are the memories of failures, the hurtful words you said or were told, the businesses that went bankrupt, the love that grew cold, the health you neglected. For years, you have tried to hide this lead. You have covered it with the blanket of forgetting, or you have tried to run from it by distracting yourself with noise. It weighs on you. You feel that this lead is proof that your life has been imperfect, that you have failed. But the Manuscript of Transmutation begins with a fundamental law written in red ink. You cannot make gold from a vacuum. You can only make gold from lead. The more lead you have, the more gold you can manufacture. Stop for a moment and let this truth penetrate your bones. Your pain was not a mistake. Your suffering was not a waste. That weight you carry is not trash. It is your raw material. The young, in their innocence, are light because they are empty. They have no lead, and therefore they cannot create the gold of wisdom. You, on the other hand, are rich in materials. The ancient alchemists called the first phase of the work the nigredo, the blackness. It is the moment when matter putrefies, darkens, and decomposes. Psychologically, it is the moment when you realize that your old ways of living no longer work. It is the crisis of the 40s, the depression of the 50s, the emptiness of the 60s. Society tells you this is depression. The alchemist tells you this is the beginning of the work. If you are feeling the darkness, rejoice. It means the matter of your ego is softening. The rigid structure of who you thought you were is breaking to release the trapped energy inside. Do not run from the sadness of what you have lived. Sit with it. That darkness is the fertile ground. No seed germinates in the sunlight. All germinate in the darkness of the earth. Your new life is germinating in the nigredo of your accumulated experience. To cook the lead, you need a vessel that can withstand the infernal heat without melting. That vessel is called the Crucible, and the Crucible is you. Look back. Look at everything you have survived. You have survived loss, you have survived illness, you have survived betrayal, you have survived your own mistakes. Any lesser vessel would have broken. You are still here. Your cracks are not flaws. They are the proof that you have been cooked in the fire of life and have not disintegrated. You have developed a spiritual resilience. That capacity to endure, to keep going when all seems lost, is the most valuable quality of the master. The young have energy. You have resilience. You have the capacity to hold the fire of transformation without burning, because you have already burned before, and you know it is not the end. The first practical step of alchemy is to change the label of your memories. You must go to your lead warehouse and start relabeling the ingots. Where it says divorce, cross out that word and write lesson on self-love. Where it says bankruptcy, write lesson on detachment. Where it says illness, write call to awakening. Every mistake you made taught you something you could not have learned in any book. That knowledge is the beginning of the gold. If you had not made that mistake, you would still be naive. Naivety is charming in a child, but dangerous in an adult. You are no longer naive, you are wise. And wisdom is simply pain that has been healed and understood. During the first half of your life, you tried to ignore this pile. You covered it with blankets of distraction, work and noise. But now, in the silence of maturity, you can no longer ignore its weight. The lead, when left cold and stagnant, begins to emit a radiation of bitterness. It poisons the blood, it hardens the heart, it dims the shine in your eyes. An alchemist knows that cold lead is death, but molten lead is life. The difference is heat. To begin the great work, you must light the fire under the crucible. But what is the fuel? The ego will offer you dirty fuels. Anger. Why did this happen to me? Revenge. I hope they suffer. Or pity. Poor me. These fuels produce much black smoke, dirty the laboratory, and do not reach the necessary temperature for fusion. They only heat the lead enough to burn, but not to change state. The only fire capable of melting history and releasing the trapped energy within it is the fire of radical acceptance. Before lighting the flame, we must close the windows where the heat escapes. The biggest thermal leak in a mature person's life is the fantasy of the unlived life. It is that phantom who sits with you at the table and whispers, "If only you had married the other person. If only you had taken that job abroad. If only you had taken better care of your health 20 years ago." This phantom shows you a movie of a parallel life where everything went well, where you are happy, rich, and perfect. And by comparing your real life with its lead, with that imaginary life of false gold, you feel miserable. That parallel life does not exist. It is an ego hallucination. But as long as you keep it alive with your attention, you are stealing energy from your real life. You are feeding a phantom with the blood of your present. Radical acceptance begins with an act of necessary brutality, the murder of if only. You must look at that imaginary life and say, "You never happened, and you never will. You are a lie." You must accept, with a serene inevitability, that it could not have been otherwise. With the level of consciousness you had then, with the wounds you carried, with the information you possessed, you made the only decision you could make. You did what you did because you were who you were. There was no mistake. There was an inevitable trajectory of learning. The path you took, with all its bumps and falls, was the only possible path to lead you to this precise moment of awakening. If you had taken the other path, perhaps you would be richer or better accompanied, but you would not have the wisdom you are about to distill. You would still be asleep in sterile comfort. The fire of acceptance burns the fantasy. It leaves you alone with reality. And even if reality is heavy, it is real, and only the real can be transmuted. Now that you have killed the phantom, we are going to work with the corpse of the past. We are going to perform an operation of temporal engineering. In quantum physics, time is not linear. The past is not behind, inaccessible. The past is a memory frequency that is vibrating right now in your neural networks. If you change the frequency today, you change the effect of the past today. We are going to use the retroactive blessing technique. It is not about changing the facts. That is impossible. It is about changing the energetic polarity of the fact. You are going to convert a curse, something that takes energy from you, into a blessing, something that gives you energy. Step A. The descent into the cave. Sit in your chair in silence. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, imagining you are descending a stone staircase to the basement of your memory. It is an ancient, torchlit place. There, in the center, is the event that weighs most heavily on you. Visualize that moment. Do not look at it with fear. Look at it as a scientist observing a nuclear reactor. That event contains a massive amount of trapped energy. Step B, the invocation of the young self. Look at yourself of that moment. Watch him suffer. Watch him make a mistake. Watch him fall. Normally, when you remember this, you judge him. You shout, "Idiot, look what you did." That judgment is the cold that keeps the lead solid. Now you're going to change the temperature. Approach that young self. Place your hands of the sage, your hands of the present, on his shoulders. And tell him, "I see you. I see your pain. I see your confusion. And I absolve you. You did what was necessary for me to be born. Your fall was necessary for my elevation. Your mistake was the price of my wisdom." Feel the tension in the image loosen. Feel that young self stop crying and look at you. You are rescuing a fragment of your soul that was trapped in time, frozen in shame. By loving him, you thaw him. The lead begins to shine. It becomes liquid. That energy, which was stagnant in 1995 or 2010, suddenly flows toward you, toward the present. You feel more whole. Step C, the blessing of the antagonist. Now do the hardest thing. Look at the other people in that scene, the ones who hurt you, the ones who betrayed you, the ones who abandoned you. The ego wants to burn them at the stake. But the alchemist knows that they were the agents of destiny. They were the hammer that broke your shell so your soul could emerge. Without them, you would still be an intact, sleeping and fragile egg. They forced you to be born. Look them in the eye and tell them, "Thank you for your service. You played the role of villains in my play so that I could become the hero. It was a tough role, but you played it well. You broke my heart so it could open. You took everything from me so I could find what cannot be lost." By blessing them, you reclaim the energy you had surrendered to them in the form of hatred. Hatred is a cable that connects you to the aggressor and sends them your vital force. Blessing is the scissors that cut the cable. Suddenly, all that energy returns to you. You feel massive. You feel powerful. The lead of resentment has melted and is now liquid gold of pure available potency. With the lead melted, it is time for extraction. Liquid metal is useless if it is not molded. You must ask yourself the fundamental question, the question that separates the bitter old person from the wise elder. What do I know now, thanks to this pain, that I did not know before? Do you know now that you are stronger than you thought? Do you know now how to distinguish truth from lies? Do you know now that material security is an illusion, and that the only security is you? That answer, that small phrase of wisdom, is the gold. Write it on your heart. Write it in your journal. Thanks to my bankruptcy, I learned that my worth is not in my bank account. That is pure gold. Thanks to my divorce, I learned to love myself before demanding love. That is pure gold. When you extract the lesson, the suffering ceases to be necessary. The universe sent you the pain as a messenger with a letter. As long as you do not read the letter, the messenger keeps knocking on the door. The pain persists. The moment you open the envelope, read the lesson and say, "Understood," the messenger leaves. The pain dissipates. It has fulfilled its function. You have converted the story of tragedy into a story of mastery. Finally, you must change the story you tell the world and yourself. Stop telling the victim's story. "Poor me, look what happened to me, I lost so many years." Start telling the initiate's story. "I went through the fire, it was tough, I burned, but in the ashes I found a diamond, and now I carry that diamond in my chest." When you change your narrative, you change your biology. Your cells stop vibrating at the frequency of damage and start vibrating at the frequency of victory. The immune system reactivates, your posture straightens. You have used the past as fuel to ignite the present. Look at your pile of lead now. It is no longer a mountain of trash, it is a treasure of resources. You are rich in experience. Young people have time, but you have density, you have gravity, you have substance. And with that substance you can build something they cannot even imagine. Chapter 2. The Furnace of Consciousness, the Sacred Fire. Look inside your chest. 20 or 30 years ago there was a fire there. You wanted to conquer the world, you wanted to fall in love, you wanted to build, you wanted to prove yourself, you were hungry. That fire made you make mistakes, yes, but it kept you alive. It gave you the energy to get up every morning with a purpose. even if it was a selfish purpose. Now you look inside and what do you see? Embers covered in ash. You feel calm, yes, but be careful, there is a very thin line between peace and thermal death. Society tells you that this is normal, that at your age passion should diminish. That desire is for the young. They tell you to settle down. The Phoenix Codex declares war on that comfort. The second law states, transformation requires heat. Without a high emotional temperature, the lead of your history will never melt into the gold of wisdom. You cannot be reborn if you are lukewarm. You must reignite the furnace of consciousness. Welcome to the thermodynamics of the soul. We must cleanse the word desire. Misinterpreted religions have told you that desire is the cause of suffering. They have told you to kill desire to find peace. That is advice for monks who want to retire from the world, not for alchemists who want to transform it. Desire is the energy of life seeking to express itself. The heart beats because it desires to pump blood. The lung expands because it desires air. If you turn off desire, you turn off life. What changes in maturity is not the intensity of desire, but the quality of the object. The young person's fire is the desire to have money, sex, fame. It is a red, smoky, and chaotic fire. The phoenix's fire is the desire to be and to give. It is a desire for vitality, connection, truth, and beauty. This new desire must be cultivated until it becomes a sacred obsession. You need something that makes you get out of bed before the alarm clock rings. If you have nothing that truly impassions you, your body receives the system shutdown signal. Boredom is immunosuppressive. Passion is the elixir of immortality. The alchemists called their furnace the Athanor. Your Athanor is your own body, specifically the region of the solar plexus and the heart. That is where reality is cooked. Most people have the Athanor clogged with the ashes of routine. They wake up, do the same things, think the same things, feel the same things. There is no friction, no novelty, no heat. They live at room temperature, and at room temperature, lead remains lead. To light the furnace, you need two elements, fuel and air. The fuel is your attention. What you focus on heats up. If you focus on your pain, you heat the pain. If you focus on your vision, you heat the vision. The air is your breath and your inspiration. If you stop adding fuel, stopping having goals, and stop adding air, stopping learning and breathing deeply, the fire goes out. And a phoenix without fire is just an old bird waiting for the end. What is the water that puts out your fire? It is not suffering. Suffering, in fact, can stoke the fire, as we saw in the kintsugi. The true extinguisher is comfort. Comfort is dangerous. Having a comfortable sofa, a predictable routine, and mediocre security is the recipe for thermal death. I'm fine, you say. I don't lack anything. But you also don't have anything extra. There is no flow, no challenge. The human soul needs the risk of growth to stay warm. The phoenix deliberately seeks strategic discomfort. It exposes itself to new ideas that challenge its beliefs. It exposes itself to new exercises that challenge its body. It exposes itself to new projects that challenge its capacity. That friction generates the spark. If your life is too comfortable, you are in danger. You are in the waiting room of the morgue. You need to open the window and let in the cold wind of challenge so that the fire has to roar to keep you warm. The lead of your past is heavy and toxic when cold, but it turns into liquid gold when subjected to the correct heat. We know that comfort is the ash that smothers your flame, and that desire is not a sin, but the fuel of life. But the operative question remains in the air. When you feel dull, tired, or cynical, where do you find the spark? How do you light the furnace when the wood seems wet from the tears or boredom of the years? You cannot wait for inspiration to fall from the sky. The alchemist does not wait for lightning. The alchemist creates the fire. We enter the ignition protocol. These are the ancient techniques, adapted to the modern mind for generating psychic and biological heat at will. In all the ancient engravings of alchemy, you will always see a key instrument next to the furnace, the bellows. Fire needs oxygen. If you cut off the air, the fire dies. Look at yourself. How do you breathe? Most mature people breathe just enough not to die, short, shallow breaths, high in the chest. This keeps the vital fire, metabolism and passion, at a minimum level, mere survival. It is a pilot light, not a bonfire. To transmute, you need massive oxygenation. You must use your lungs like bellows to stoke the embers of your solar plexus. The rhythmic bellows technique. This is not a relaxation breath. It is an activation breath. 1. Sit with your back straight. The chimney must be straight for the smoke to rise. 2. Inhale strongly through the nose, filling the abdomen. 3. Exhale strongly through the nose, contracting the abdomen. 4. Do it quickly, in-ex like the pumping of a bellows. 5. Do 20 repetitions. Then inhale deep, hold the air and feel the heat. By doing this, you are flooding your blood with oxygen and prana, vital energy. You will feel a tingling. You will feel heat in your face. That heat is not imaginary, it is molecular friction. You are raising the temperature of your athanor. When you feel off, don't reach for coffee, reach for air. Air is the spirit. Spiritus means breath. If you bring more spirit to the matter heats up. How do you make fire in nature if you don't have matches? By rubbing 2 sticks. Friction. Comfort eliminates friction, and that is why it eliminates heat. To ignite yourself, you must deliberately introduce friction into your life. This is called strategic asceticism or voluntary effort. If your life is too easy, you cool down. You must do something difficult every day. A cold shower in the morning, thermal friction. A walk uphill that leaves you breathless, physical friction. Learning a new language that frustrates your mind, intellectual friction. Having that difficult conversation you have been avoiding, emotional friction. The alchemist seeks resistance. He knows that when he pushes against resistance, heat is generated. That heat is vitality. Do not seek the path of least resistance. That path leads to the grave. Seek the path of optimal resistance. The path that makes you sweat a little, that makes you think, that makes you feel alive. Friction polishes the gold and melts the lead. For the fire to burn, it needs to be hungry for fuel. In modern society, we are glutted. We are full of food, full of entertainment, full of news, full of sugar. We are not hungry for life because we are full of cheap substitutes. Satiety is the enemy of alchemy. If you want to recover passion, the fire, you must recover hunger. And to recover hunger, you must fast, not just from food, but from stimuli. The Void Protocol. Dedicate a day or an afternoon to not consuming anything. Do not eat or eat very little. Do not look at screens. Do not read the news. Do not listen to music. Sit in the silence, walk aimlessly. At first you will feel boredom and anxiety. Those are the withdrawal symptoms from cheap dopamine. But if you persist, the miracle will occur. The hunger will return. You will start to feel like doing real things. You will feel like writing, building, talking to someone real. Your inner fire, deprived of the garbage you were feeding it, will begin to look for real wood, purpose. Hunger is the natural state of the seeker. Stay a little hungry always. Once you have air, breath, heat, friction, and space hunger, you need to throw the definitive log into the fire. You need a mission. But at this age, the mission cannot be to make money or to impress Dad. Those are dirty fuels that leave a lot of ash. The gold fuel must be transcendent. You must find something you care about more than your own comfort. Ask yourself, what breaks my heart? Or what do I find incredibly beautiful? Perhaps it is the state of your grandchildren's education. Perhaps it is the beauty of a garden you want to plant. Perhaps it is writing your family's story so it is not lost. That cause is the golden fuel. It doesn't have to be grand to the world, it has to be grand to you. When you connect your life to something you love deeply, the fire becomes self-sustaining. You no longer need willpower to get up. The mission lifts you up. The alchemist does not retire, he reassigns himself to a higher mission. Finally, lighting the fire is easy. Maintaining it is the art. The sacred fire of the ancient temples was never allowed to go out. There were guardians, the Vestals, whose only mission was to feed the flame day and night. You are the guardian of your own fire. You live in a damp world. The negativity of others, the cynicism of society, and the inertia of your body are cold water. You must protect your flame. If you feel yourself cooling down, getting cynical or sad, stop immediately. Do the fire breath. Seek friction. Connect with your mission. Do not go to sleep cold. Before sleeping, visualize the fire in your heart. Tell your subconscious, keep the pilot light on while I sleep. May my sleep be a cooking process, not a shutdown. Chapter 3. the salt of the earth, your true identity. The third law of the manuscript states, fire volatilizes and water dissolves, but salt preserves. At the core of your being there is an indestructible crystal that does not depend on your name, your job, or your body. Finding that crystal is the only guarantee of immortality in life. Welcome to the search for the salt of the earth. To understand who you are, we must consult the map of the ancient masters. They said that everything in the universe is composed of three philosophical principles. Sulfur, the soul fire. This is your passion, your desire, your will. It is what burns, as we saw this in chapter 2. Mercury, the spirit mind. This is your intelligence, your capacity for adaptation, your fluidity. It is what connects. Salt, the body essence. This is the principle of fixation. It is what unites the soul and spirit and gives them a concrete form. It is your eternal individuality. The problem with old age is that the sulfur is consumed and the mercury evaporates. Passion fades and the mind wanders. If you lack salt, you disintegrate. You become a phantom in life. But if you have salt, you crystallize. You become something solid, wise, and permanent. Salt is what remains at the bottom of the crucible when everything else has burned. It is the sacred ash. It is the essence of who you are when everything you have is taken away. Who are you? If I ask you this question, your automatic mind will give me your resume. I am John, engineer, father of 2, widower. All of that are lies. Those are layers of clothing you put on to survive the world's climate. Engineer is what you did to earn money. Now that you don't work, do you cease to exist? No. Father is a biological and social function. Your children are now independent adults. Did your function end? Yes. Did you end? No. The midlife identity crisis is, in reality, the painful process of life stripping you of your clothes. It takes away your youth, the clothing of physical beauty. It takes away your job, the clothing of status. It takes away perfect health, the clothing of invulnerability. You feel naked, you feel cold, you feel invisible. Society tells you that you are invisible because you no longer produce, but the alchemist tells you you are being stripped so you can see your real skin. All those layers were disguises. They were heavy. They were borrowed. What remains underneath, that nakedness that frightens you so much, is your salt. The salt is who you are in the dark, when no one is watching, when you don't have to prove anything, when you don't have to earn money. It is your unique flavor. It is your way of looking at the world. It is your specific vibration. No one in the universe has your same salt. Why did the ancients use salt to preserve meat? Because salt stops putrefaction. Salt is the enemy of death and decomposition. Metaphysically, this is literal. The putrefaction in the human being is cynicism, bitterness, dementia, self-abandonment. You see older people who have gone bad. They have become sour, toxic, complaining. That is a lack of salt. They have lost their connection to their essence and have been invaded by the bacteria of collective negativity. The person who has salt remains fresh. They may be 80 years old, but their eyes are clear. Their mind is sharp, their spirit is young. Why? Because they know who they are. They do not depend on external validation. Their worth is intrinsic, just as flavor is intrinsic to salt. Salt preserves innocence, preserves dignity, preserves lucidity. Finding your salt is finding your inalienable dignity. It is reaching the point where you can say, even if I lose my memory, even if I lose my mobility, even if I lose my money, what I am is an indestructible gem that shines at the center of my chest. And that gem is enough. This certainty is the shield against the fear of decrepitude. Jesus told his disciples, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavor, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything." This is a technical warning. To lose the flavor is to lose your authenticity. You spent the first half of your life trying to be what others wanted you to be. A good employee, a good child, a respectable citizen. You diluted yourself. You became bland to fit in. The second life, the phoenix phase, is about reclaiming the flavor. Now that you no longer have to impress anyone, you have the sacred duty to be radically yourself. If you always wanted to paint, paint. If you were always a rebel but stayed quiet to get the promotion, now speak. If you always loved silence, retreat to the woods. Your flavor is your gift to the world. The world is full of bland people, copies of copies. The world is hungry for salt, for authentic people, for people who don't apologize for being who they are. Your mission now is not to do useful things, it is to be intensely you. That intensity inspires your grandchildren, that authenticity attracts the new tribe, that truth heals your body. Youth is movement, maturity is crystallization. Water moves, runs, changes shape. Crystal is still geometric, perfect. Do not fight to remain water. Do not try to imitate the speed of your 20s. Accept the beauty of the crystal. Salt is crystalline. It has structure. It has order. The man or woman of salt does not chase trends. He does not change his mind with every wind. He has principles. He has a philosophy tested by fire. He is a pillar. People lean on him because he is solid. To become salt is to become a reference point for others. In a liquid and chaotic world, you are the rock. You are the memory of what is important. That is the function of the elder in the tribe, to be the salt that prevents society from putrefying. We know that the identity crisis of maturity is not a loss, but an invitation to the necessary nakedness to find the treasure. But how do you separate the salt from the murky water of daily life? You have been diluted for decades. You have mixed yourself with your parents' expectations, your partner's demands, your children's needs, and the culture of your country. You are an aqueous solution where the self is hard to find. To reclaim your potency, you must concentrate. You must submit your psyche to the process of controlled evaporation. We enter the crystallization laboratory. These are the protocols to separate the false from the true, the borrowed from your own, and the temporary from the eternal. The first step to knowing who you are is to know with absolute certainty who you are not. The ancient sages of India developed a technology of discernment called neti, neither this nor that. It is the knife that cuts the layers of the onion. For the phoenix, this is not an intellectual exercise. It is a meditation of stripping away, the nightly stripping ritual. Sit in the darkness. Close your eyes. Imagine you are at the gate of eternity and the guardian asks you, "Who are you?" You cannot answer with your name, that is a label. You cannot answer with your body, that is a suit. Start taking off the layers. The layer of possession. Visualize your house, your money, your objects. Say, "These are mine, but I am not me. If all this burned tomorrow, I would still exist. Therefore, I am not my possessions." Neti. The layer of the role. Visualize your job, your title of mother or grandfather, your social status. Say, "These are functions I perform, but I am not the actor. If no one needed me, I would still be. Therefore, I am not my utility." Neti. The layer of the body. Feel your pains, your age, your physical form. Say, "This body changes, it was born and will die. I am the witness who observes the body change. The observer is not the observed. Therefore, I am not my body." Neti. Continue removing layers. Remove your emotions, remove your political thoughts, remove your fears. You will reach a point of vertigo. You will feel that nothing is left, that nothing is the salt. It is a pure, silent, conscious presence. It is the simple feeling of I am, without adjectives, without predicates, just pure existence. Stay in that spot. That spot is indestructible. Fire does not burn it. Water does not wet it. Time does not age it. When you touch that base, the fear of old age disappears, because you realize that what you truly are was never born, and therefore can never decay. You have found the diamond. In the Bible, God says, "To him who overcomes, I will give a white stone, and on the stone a new name written, which no one knows but him who receives it." Revelation 2:17. The white stone is the salt, the crystal of your purified identity, and the new name is your unique frequency. You have a legal name, John Mary, given by your parents. That name has karma, history, and your family's expectations, but your spirit has a secret name. It is a word, or a sensation, that summarizes your unique flavor in the universe. The phoenix must discover this name to self-define. The name search. In your state of meditation after the neti, ask the silence, "What is my true nature? If I were a force of nature, what would I be?" Do not force the answer. Let a word or image surface. For some it is fortitude. For others it is mercy. For others it is clarity. For others it is storm or refuge. That is your secret name. Do not tell anyone, it is your source of power. When you feel lost, when the world treats you like a useless old person, when you feel invisible, repeat your secret name internally. I am the refuge. Immediately your spine straightens. Your energy changes. You stop acting as the social character, John, and start acting as the eternal force, the refuge. Operating from your secret name gives you an authority that requires no shouting. People sense that someone is there behind your eyes. They feel the salt. Salt preserves. What must it preserve? Innocence. Not the innocence of ignorance, not knowing that evil exists, but the innocence of freshness, not letting evil corrupt you. Psychological old age occurs when cynicism covers your soul. To find your salt, you must go back in time, before the world told you who you should be. You must connect with the divine child you were, not the wounded child. We healed that in chapter 1. I speak of the child who was amazed, the child who played, the child who knew what he liked without having to justify it. The archaeology of pleasure. Make a list. What did you love to do at ages 7, 8, 9? Did you draw? Did you look at insects? Did you build things? Did you sing? Did you like silence? Those inclinations were not whims. They were the original blueprint of your salt. They were your factory design. Society forced you to abandon those things to be productive. Now, in your second life, your duty is to recover them. If you like to draw by colors today, not to be Picasso but to reconnect with your essence. If you like the forest, go to the forest. When you do what your soul loves, time stops. The salt shines. Recovering your childhood loves is not regression. It is the final integration. The circle closes. The elder and the child join hands, and in that union is wholeness. In antiquity, a salt pact was an eternal, unbreakable covenant. Salt does not corrupt, therefore the pact cannot be broken. The problem of your life has been that you have made pacts with everyone, with your boss, your partner, your children, society, but you have broken the pact with yourself over and over again. You have betrayed yourself to please. You have remained silent so as not to bother. You have abandoned yourself. That self-betrayal is the cause of the deep loneliness you feel, even when accompanied. You feel lonely because you are not with you. You have left. The phoenix must sign the salt pact. It is a vow of marriage to yourself. The commitment ritual. Stand in front of the mirror. Look deeply into your eyes beyond the age. Place your hand on your heart. Say aloud, "I, your name this day, make an eternal pact with myself. I promise never to abandon myself again. I promise to listen to my voice above the noise of the world. I promise to honor my needs as sacred. I promise to be my own best friend, my protector and my provider. Wherever I go, I am with me. Never again will I be alone because I have myself." Feel the gravity of these words. Cry if necessary. It is the cry of reunion. By making this pact, existential loneliness disappears. Solitude is the distance between you and yourself. When that distance closes, loneliness becomes solitude, the joy of being oneself. A person who has signed the salt pact is never desperate for company, and that is why, paradoxically, they attract the best company. The world wants to be near someone who has themselves. Salt has a crystalline structure. It is rigid in a good way. It has a defined form. In a liquid world, where values change according to fashion and convenience, the elder must be a crystal. You must define your code of honor. What is non-negotiable for you? Truth, loyalty, freedom, beauty. Write down your 3 core values. From now on, those values are not preferences. They are physical laws of your personal universe. If something or someone violates your values, you do not negotiate. You withdraw, or you change it. The crystal does not bend. Having a rigid code simplifies your life. You no longer have to think about what to do in every situation. You simply consult your code. Should I do this shady business deal? Die tarot code, truth. Die tarot answer, no. Decision made in 1 second. This firmness gives you unshakable mental peace. You sleep peacefully because you know you have not betrayed yourself. People respect what has form. People ignore what is amorphous. Be salt. Be defined. When you have salt, you have flavor. This means your presence is noticed. You don't need to talk much. You don't need to make noise. You simply enter a room. and the atmosphere changes. Your vibration of authenticity, of conquered peace and of self-fidelity affects the flavor of the environment. The young bring energy and chaos. The elder of salt brings substance and calm. You are the stabilizer. You are the one who, in a family crisis, does not shout, but stands firm and says the right word that calms everyone. You are the one who, with a look, can stop an injustice. Your flavor is your vibrational legacy. People will say of you, "I don't know what she has, but I feel better when I'm near him, her." That is the salt. It is the radiation of your pure essence. Chapter 4. The Universal Solvent. The Power of Forgiveness. You have lit the furnace. You have defined who you are, but looking into your own heart you see dark stains that won't fade. They are faces from the past. They are names that, when pronounced, leave a bitter taste in your mouth. They are old moral debts you believe are owed to you, a father who didn't love you, a partner who stole from you, a child who distanced himself. You carry these stains as if they were war trophies. You believe your resentment is your shield, that your anger is your dignity. But the fourth law of the manuscript is implacable. You cannot fill a cup that is already full of poison. Resentment does not punish the aggressor, it corrodes the vessel. For the gold to manifest, the lead must be washed in the universal solvent. Welcome to the chemistry of radical forgiveness. There is an ancient maxim that says, the acid does more damage to the container in which it is stored than to the object upon which it is poured. Resentment is that acid. You generate it, you store it, you hold it in your chest, waiting for the moment to launch it against your enemy. But while you wait, the acid eats at you. At 50 or 60, the body no longer has the capacity to buffer that acid as it did when you were 20. The acidity of resentment turns into arthritis, crystallization of hatred. It turns into ulcers, the fire of swallowed anger. It turns into hypertension, the pressure of not letting go. Many men and women reach maturity desiring a new life, but their bodies are saturated with the chemistry of old battles. The alchemist understands that forgiveness is not an act of kindness toward the other. The other person may not even care. Forgiveness is an act of structural survival. It is the decision to empty the acid before it drills through the bottom of your own boat. Alchemy teaches that like attracts like, but there is a subtler law. Hatred is glue. When you love someone, you are connected to them, but when you hate someone, you are chained to them. Intense emotion creates a vibrational bridge. As long as you keep reviewing that person's offense in your mind, as long as you keep having imaginary dialogues of revenge or justice, you are keeping the bond alive. You are giving your vital energy to your enemy. You are feeding a phantom with your own blood. Do you want to be free? Do you want that person to stop having power over you? The only way to break the chain is to dissolve the glue. You must stop emitting the victim frequency, because that frequency is what keeps the perpetrator chained to your reality. The universal solvent, forgiveness, breaks the molecular bond. It makes the other person vibrationally irrelevant to you. You let go of them, and by letting go, you reclaim all the energy you were spending holding the chain. Suddenly, you have fuel to spare for your own life. The mature ego has a strong objection. But they haven't apologized. It's not fair. If I forgive, I'm saying what they did was okay. This is the mistake that keeps you in hell. Forgiveness is not exoneration. It is not saying nothing happened. Forgiveness is saying, I refuse to suffer over this any longer. It is a declaration of emotional independence. If you wait for the other person to apologize so you can heal, you are handing the remote control of your life to the one who hurt you. You are telling them, you hold the key to my peace. Until you turn the key, I will remain imprisoned. That is slavery. The master alchemist does not need the apology of the ignorant. The master grants peace to himself. He knows that divine justice, cause and effect, handles the universe's balance. Your job is not to be the judge and executioner. Your job is to be the creator of your own destiny. Leave justice to the law, you focus on the cleansing. In alchemical legend, the alkahest could dissolve any matter, reducing it to its primordial essence. Forgiveness does exactly that with your history. It takes a betrayal, hard, painful matter, and dissolves it until only the experience, neutral matter, wisdom remains. When you apply the solvent, the emotional pain evaporates. The memory remains, but it no longer has an electrical charge. It no longer stings when you touch it. It becomes a simple archive fact. Yes, that happened, I learned this, and now I move on. That neutrality is the sign that the transmutation has occurred. You have converted an open wound into a silver scar, smooth and cold to the touch. We know that hatred is an umbilical cord that keeps you feeding your phantoms. And we know that divine justice does not need your anger to balance the scales. But the theory of forgiveness is easy. The practice is open-heart surgery without anesthesia. When you have spent 20, 30, or 40 years telling the story of what they did to you, that story has become part of your bone structure. It is your identity. I am the woman who was abandoned. I am the man who was cheated. Letting go of that story feels like an amputation. The ego screams, if I forgive, I lose my dignity. If I let go of this, who am I? The alchemist replies, if you let go of this, you stop being the victim and become the creator. Forgiveness is the price you pay to reclaim your throne. We enter the dissolution laboratory. These are the ancient protocols for applying the alkahest, the universal solvent, to the most resistant stains on your soul. The first step is to deactivate the electrical charge the image of your enemy has in your mind. As long as you think of that person and feel a rush of adrenaline or heat, you are their slave. They hold the remote control to your nervous system. To break this control, you cannot use indifference, repression. You must use a higher frequency energy that neutralizes the low frequency of hatred. That energy is the blessing, the silent blessing technique, the counterpoison. This is a mechanical, not emotional technique. You do not need to feel love for your enemy. That is for advanced saints. You just need to execute the formula. 1. The invocation. Sit in your inner laboratory. Bring the image of the person who hurt you the most. Look at them. Feel your body's reaction, the poison. Do not judge it. It is just old chemistry. 2. The application of the solvent. Now mentally direct a stream of light toward that image and repeat this ancient formula. I fully release you and let you go. I release any debt I believe you owe me. I invoke the law of goodness for you. I wish you the peace you lack. I wish you the light that heals you. I wish you to be so happy and whole that you never again feel the need to harm anyone. You are free, and I am free. Let's analyze the chemistry of this. Why wish well to someone who harmed you? Because, by the law of circulation, everything that leaves you passes through you first. If you generate hatred to launch at them, the hatred burns your pipes before it leaves. If you generate blessing to launch at them, the blessing cleanses, heals, and lubricates your pipes before it leaves. You are washing yourself with the soap you prepared for him. It is the most intelligent form of selfishness in the world, mechanical repetition. Do this every time the memory arises. At first you will feel resistance. You will feel like you are lying. Do it anyway. It's like taking a bitter medicine. You don't have to like it for it to heal you. Over time you will notice the solvent's effect. The image of that person will begin to lose color. It will become transparent. It will no longer cause you a racing heart. A day will come when you think of them and feel a serene indifference. That is the gold. The energy that was trapped in hatred has been released and is now pure, available potency for your new life. Now we face the toughest obstacle, the blockage that prevents the transmutation of most mature people. It is easy, relatively, to forgive others. It is almost impossible to forgive oneself. You look back and see your own mistakes. I should have saved more. I shouldn't have married that person. I was a bad parent. I wasted my talent. This guilt is radioactive lead. It is a dead weight that tells you, you don't deserve a second life. You failed the first, your chance passed, now it's your turn to pay. As long as you feel guilty, your subconscious, the engineer, will sabotage any attempt at improvement. Guilt demands punishment, and you are the executioner. To be reborn, you must sign a decree of amnesty. The truth about your past self. You must understand this viscerally. The person who committed those mistakes no longer exists. Biologically, not a cell of that body is still alive. Mentally, your current level of consciousness is superior. Judging yourself from 20 years ago with the wisdom of your current self is a temporal injustice. Your past self was not bad. He was ignorant, wounded, or asleep. He did the best he could with the level of consciousness and trauma he had at that moment. The ritual of the temporal embrace. Close your eyes. Visualize your past self at the exact moment of the mistake. Look at him. You will likely see someone scared, confused, trying to survive. Do not judge him. Approach that young version of yourself. Embrace him. Tell him, I forgive you. You didn't know what you were doing. You were learning. Thank you for surviving so that I could be here today. I take command now. You can rest. Feel the tension of years dissolving in that embrace. Guilt is arrogance. It is believing you should have been perfect. Self-forgiveness is humility. It is accepting that you are a human being in evolution. Only when you release the guilt do you become worthy of receiving the gold. The universe does not punish, it teaches. If you have learned the lesson, the punishment, the guilt, is no longer necessary. Release it. A subtle form of resentment against life is grieving what did not happen. The doors that closed, the paths not taken. At 50 or 60, it is easy to fall into the melancholy of if only. That melancholy is a mild acid that corrodes the joy of the present. The alchemist performs a symbolic funeral. He acknowledges that those potential lives have died, and he buries them with honor. The farewell ceremony. Write down the things you feel you lost. The musician career, the ideal marriage, the fortune I didn't make. Take the paper to a safe place or to your mental fireplace. Burn it. As it burns, say, I honor what could have been, but I choose what is. I bury my dead fantasies to nourish my living reality. Everything that did not happen was to protect me or to direct me toward my true destiny, which begins today. Trust the intelligence of destiny. If it did not happen, it is because it did not belong to you. What is for you, you will have. What is not for you, you won't. Accepting that your life has been perfect in its imperfection is the key to peace. The path you traveled was the only possible path to reach the wisdom of the lead you have today. There is another aspect of forgiveness, releasing the idea that the world owes you something. Many reach maturity feeling that life has been unfair. I was good, I worked hard, and look how I am repaid. They feel their children owe them gratitude, their company owes them recognition, God owes them a reward. That feeling of moral creditor is heavy. It makes you sit and wait for payment. And since payment rarely comes in the form you expect, you become bitter. The universal solvent erases the ledger. Tell the universe, I cancel all debts. No one owes me anything. My children owe me nothing. My ex owes me nothing. Life owes me nothing. The moment you cancel the debt, you become free. You stop waiting to be paid and start generating your own wealth. You stop being a bitter creditor and become a generous creator. Paradoxically, when you stop demanding, the universe starts giving you things because you have stopped emitting the vibration of lack debt and started emitting the vibration of freedom, sufficiency. The ultimate goal of this chapter is to leave you in a state of clean void. Imagine a blackboard filled with old scribbles, erroneous formulas, claims and chalk stains from 40 years ago. You cannot write anything new there. Forgiveness is the wet eraser that passes over the blackboard and leaves it black, shiny, and empty. That void is scary at first, but it is the space of infinite possibility. Now at 50, 60, or 80, you have the opportunity to write something new without the interference of the past. You are virginal again, not physically, but karmically. You have paid your debts, you have learned your lessons, you have forgiven your teachers, your enemies. You are ready to graduate. Forgiveness is not something you do once and it's over. You live in a human world. People will fail you again. You will make mistakes again. The alchemist does not wait to be dirty to wash. He practices daily forgiveness hygiene. Every night before sleeping, in your day review, do a quick sweep. Did anything bother me today? Did anything hurt me? If so, apply the solvent on the spot. I let it go. I forgive it. I am not taking it to bed with me. Do not let the sun set on your anger. If you go to sleep clean, your subconscious works on regeneration. If you go to sleep dirty, with resentment, it works on degeneration. Keep your vessel spotless. Chapter 5. The distillation of thought, mental clarity. You have entered the alembic room. Up until now we have worked with heavy things, lead, scars, chains. Now we are going to work with the volatile, your thought. Look at your mind today. What do you see? You probably don't see a calm lake, you see a dust storm. You have decades of accumulated information, political opinions, medical diagnoses, economic fears, existential doubts. Everything is spinning at once. You feel foggy. You find it hard to make decisions. You doubt your intuition. Society calls this age-related cognitive decline. The alchemist calls it contamination of the mixture. Your mind has not deteriorated. It is simply dirty. It is mixed up. Pure thought, your wisdom, is dissolved in the mud of collective fear. To reclaim your power, you must apply the fifth law of the manuscript, taken directly from the emerald tablet. Thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently, with great ingenuity. Welcome to the distillation of thought. The natural state of the untrained mind is turbidity. Imagine a glass of water mixed with dirt, oil, and vinegar. Shake it. It becomes opaque. It does not allow light to pass through. That is your mind when you worry. You mix facts, I have a debt, with terror fantasies, I will end up homeless, and judgments, I am a failure. The result is paralysis. You cannot act because you cannot see. Distillation is the process of applying heat so that the pure water evaporates, separates from the mud, rises, and then condenses into another vessel, drop by drop, crystalline and perfect. You must learn to do this with your thoughts. You must learn to separate the data, the real, from the drama, the added. In alchemy, the gross is the heavy, dense thought based on fear and matter. I am old. There is no money. It is dangerous. These thoughts are lead. They anchor you to the ground. The subtle is the elevated, light thought, based on spirit and possibility. My essence is eternal. The universe provides. I am capable. The problem is that in your current mind, they are glued together. You have a noble desire, I want to start a business, but it is stuck to a dense fear, I am going to go bankrupt. Because they are stuck, you don't move. Fear outweighs desire. Distillation breaks that glue. It separates the desire from the fear so you can use the energy of desire without the burden of fear. How is a thought distilled? Through detached observation. Most people are their thoughts. I am afraid. I am fear. The alchemist observes his thoughts. There is a thought of fear passing across the screen. When you observe a thought without identifying with it, you apply gentle heat to it. You make it vibrate, and you begin to notice its components. You say, let's analyze this thought that I am finished. How much of this is objective truth, earth, and how much is negative imagination, smoke? By making this distinction, the thought breaks down, the false part evaporates, the true part remains, and suddenly you have clarity. Clarity is not knowing everything. Clarity is knowing what is essential and what is noise. A single gram of pure thought, a clear idea, has more power than a ton of confused worries. Let me tell you something about your mature brain. It is not slower, it is more selective. The young brain is fast because it is empty. It processes everything. The mature brain is full of patterns, wisdom, and connections. If you feel mental fog, it's not because your neurons are dying. It's because your filter is dirty. You're trying to process too much useless information, news, gossip, others' fears. If you apply distillation, if you clean the input and filter the process, you will discover that your mind is sharper now than it was at 20. Because now you have something you didn't have then. Synthesis. You can see the solution to a problem in 1 second, because you have seen the pattern 100 times before. But for that synthesis to work, the alembic must be clean. You have decades of data, fears, other people's voices, and emotional residue floating in your consciousness. This turbidity is what prevents you from seeing the bottom, making quick decisions, and hearing the voice of your own soul. The lead, confusion, and the gold, clarity, are mixed. The alchemist does not throw away the mixture. He processes it. He knows that within that confusion is the seed of genius, but it must be extracted. The distillation operation requires heat to evaporate and cold to condense. It requires movement and stillness. We enter the distillation laboratory. These are the protocols for cleaning the filters of perception and reclaiming the mental sharpness that is your birthright. The first phase of distillation is to take the mud out of the system. The gross are the repetitive, circular, and toxic thoughts that occupy your RAM from the moment you wake up. This background noise consumes 80% of your brain energy. As long as it is there spinning, you cannot think of anything elevated. To eliminate it, you cannot try not to think. That only stirs it up more. You must remove it physically. The drainage writing ritual, or automatic cleansing writing. Before attempting to meditate, pray, or plan your day, sit down with a paper and pen. Do not write to be read. Do not write with grammar. Simply open the faucet. Dump the contents of your mind onto the paper without a filter. Write until you feel the flow stops. What are you doing here? You are taking the gross out of the flask. By putting the thought on paper, you objectify it. It stops being inside you and moves to being outside. You no longer have to hold it in working memory. The paper holds it for you. You will feel a physical lightness in your head. The constant buzzing subsides. You have cleaned the pipe. Now, and only now, can clean water pass through. Once the superficial noise is drained, the subtler but dangerous thoughts remain. Structural worries. They are fears disguised as logic. At my age, I can no longer start this. If I spend this money, I will be poor in old age. These thoughts seem realistic, but they are often hallucinations of fear. To distill them, you must pass them through the sieve of truth. The sieve is a series of corrosive questions that dissolve the lie and leave only the fact. The interrogation technique. Take the thought that is distressing you. Put it under the microscope. Apply the 3 filters of Socrates adapted to alchemy. 1. The filter of certainty. Is this absolutely true? Can I know with 100% certainty that this is going to happen? The thought loses solidity. 2. The filter of ownership. Is this thought mine or is it inherited? The thought is revealed as an intruder. 3. The filter of utility. Does this thought help me build my gold or does it take me back to the lead? If the answer is, it takes me back to the lead, the alchemist discards it. Not because it is false, but because it is useless. Distillation is the act of keeping only what is true, your own, and useful. Everything else evaporates. When you apply this sieve, you realize that 90% of your fears are smoke, and smoke, once identified, can be walked through. You have removed the mud, writing, and filtered the smoke, questions. Now you have a clear liquid, but it is still hot and agitated. To obtain the drop of essence, the pure intuition, the brilliant solution, the deep peace, you need to cool the vapor. You need silence. Silence is not the absence of noise, it is a frequency. It is the state where the brain drops from beta, activity, to alpha and theta, receptivity. In this state, the logical mind falls silent and the infinite intelligence, the subconscious connected to the source, begins to speak. The still point ritual. Sit in a comfortable chair. Fix your gaze on a point or close your eyes. Do not do anything, simply listen. Listen to the space between your thoughts. Listen to the sound of your breath. Listen to the hum of silence in the room. After a few minutes, the traffic subsides. A space is created. In that space, suddenly the drop falls. An idea. Call this person. A realization. Ah, that's why I was angry. A solution. I don't need to fight, I just need to let go. That drop is potable gold. It is pure wisdom. A single drop of this distilled intuition is worth more than 100 hours of forced logical thought. The alchemist spends time in silence not to rest, but to receive instructions. He knows that the correct direction is only found in stillness. To keep the alembic clean, you must control what goes in. If you distill pure water and then dump a bucket of sewage water into it, you have lost the work. The sewage water is information overload. At your age, your brain doesn't need more data, it needs more synthesis. The constant bombardment of news, social media, and advertising keeps your brain in a state of inflammation. It prevents it from entering distillation mode. The clarity protocol demands information fasting. The news diet. Stop watching the news. News is designed to generate fear. Lead. You don't need it. Digital silence. Establish sacred hours without screens. The first hour of the morning and the last hour of the night. Selective reading. Read only what nourishes your soul or your higher intellect. Avoid mental junk food. By reducing the input, your brain has time to process what it already has. You start connecting the dots. You start understanding your life. Clarity is the result of subtraction, not addition. The less noise you put in, the more signal you hear. The final result of distillation is the recovery of intuition. We have been taught that intuition is for the young or for crazy mystics. False. Intuition is the highest form of intelligence. It is pattern recognition, and no one has more patterns stored than a 60-year-old person. When you distill your mind, you allow that database to communicate with you instantly. You know if a person is trustworthy in 2 seconds. You know if a business will work by feel. You know what decision to make without making a pro and con list. That is the drop of essence. The profane dismisses this voice. I have to think about it more, he says, and he gets confused. The master trusts his gut feeling. He knows it is the result of 60 years of data processed and distilled into a microsecond of clarity. Learn to obey that quiet voice. It is rarely wrong. Logic shouts, intuition whispers. In the silence of the alembic, the whisper becomes thunder. Clarity also manifests in action. The turbid mind multitasks. It tries to do 3 things at once and does them poorly. The distilled mind does 1 thing at a time. When the alchemist eats, he eats. When he walks, he walks. When he listens, he listens. This unidirectionality, single tasking, concentrates energy. It is like a magnifying glass. If you move the magnifying glass, you don't burn anything. If you hold it still, you concentrate the sun and start a fire. Apply this to your second life. Don't try to do 1,000 things before you die. Choose the 3 things that truly matter and give them all your light. The potency of your old age will not come from your speed, but from your mass. A slow but concentrated blow has more force than 10 quick scattered blows. Finally, distillation is a habit. Your mind will get dirty again tomorrow. The world is dusty. The master accepts this as part of the work. He doesn't get frustrated because he gets confused. He simply returns to the alembic. Every time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or lost, 1. Stop. 2. Take out the paper, drainage. 3. Ask the questions, sieve. 4. Enter silence, condenser. In 15 minutes, you can move from absolute chaos to crystalline clarity. This capacity for self-regulation is the superpower of maturity. The young person needs the world to change to calm down. The elder knows how to calm down to change the world. Chapter 6, The Philosopher's Stone, Unwavering Faith. You have arrived at the central secret of the great work. You have the wisdom of your years. You have the clarity of your distilled mind. But you look at your physical life, your bank account, your body, your loneliness, and you see that the lead is still lead. External reality is stubborn. What does it take for thought to become thing? What force compels the atoms of the universe to rearrange according to your will? You need the Philosopher's Stone. For centuries, men searched for a red stone that would convert metals into gold and cure all diseases. They died searching in the wrong place. They sought in matter what exists only in consciousness. The Philosopher's Stone is the state of absolute certainty. The 6th law of the Phoenix establishes, reality is fluid, but it solidifies under the gaze of one who knows. Faith is not hope. Faith is the vision of the end. When certainty reaches a critical mass, the physical universe has no choice but to obey. Welcome to the physics of unwavering faith. To forge the stone, you must first destroy its cheap imitation, hope. At 50 or 60, hope is dangerous. Hope says, I wish it would happen. Maybe it will change. Please let it get better. Analyze the vibration of hope. It is filled with doubt. It is filled with fear. One who hopes admits they lack the power. They admit that the outcome depends on luck, on God, seen as external, or on circumstances. Hope is a victim's posture. It is passive. The alchemist does not have hope. The alchemist has knowledge. You don't hope the sun will rise tomorrow, you know it will. You don't hope gravity will hold you, you trust it. That level of certainty, the level where you don't even entertain the possibility of failure, is the Philosopher's Stone. When you reach the point of knowing that your health is returning, or that your abundance is a fact, the manifestation is instantaneous in quantum time. The phoenix's job is to move from the frequency of I want to believe to the frequency of I know. Quantum science tells us that reality exists as a wave of infinite probabilities until an observer looks at it. By looking at it, the wave collapses and turns into a particle, matter. Doubt is a trembling gaze. It collapses an unstable reality. Certainty is a fixed, heavy, and powerful gaze. It collapses the exact reality you desire. The Philosopher's Stone is your ability to sustain the gaze on your inner vision without blinking until external reality surrenders. Matter is dense, but certainty is denser. If you sustain the vision of your healthy body with an unmovable conviction, ignoring temporary pain, your cells will eventually align with that vision. They have no choice. The mind directs the matter. The problem is that most people blink. They believe in the morning, but they doubt in the afternoon when they watch the news. That blink dissolves the stone. You return to the liquid state of uncertainty. The master trains his mind not to blink, to sustain the it is done against all sensory evidence. Here is the supreme paradox. To see the gold, you must first ignore the lead. Your physical senses, eyes, ears, report the current situation. No money. There is illness. If you believe your senses, you are lost. You are validating the past. The Philosopher's Stone requires you to develop a second sight. It requires you to walk through the world seeing the invisible. You walk through your empty house, but you feel the presence of your ideal partner. You look at your zero balance, but you feel the weight of wealth in your pocket. This is not madness, it is creation engineering. You are superimposing an energy template onto physical reality. If you maintain that template with faith, certainty, the energy will condense and fill the mold. Faith is the loyalty to your invisible vision above your visible reality. The mature ego, accustomed to managing and controlling, always asks, but how is it going to happen? It wants to see the plan. It wants logical guarantees. The Philosopher's Stone pulverizes the how. The alchemist does not care about the how. The how is the domain of the universe, the great kitchen. Your job is the what, the order, and the feeling of it is done, the payment. If you try to control the how, you introduce doubt. I am too old for this. The economy is bad. Those are limitations of the how. Certainty says, I don't know how and I don't care. I know it is law. I know it is done. This arrogant and divine confidence is what opens doors that logic cannot see. When you release the how, energy flows freely. Impossible coincidences begin to happen. We know that reality collapses into a specific form when an observer looks at it with absolute certainty. We know that doubt is a trembling vibration that prevents materialization, and that faith is not a religious belief, but a state of anticipatory knowledge. But how do you reach that state when your eyes show you the opposite? Your bank account is empty, the medical diagnosis is negative, your bed is empty, your senses shout, this is real, your faith is a fantasy. The alchemist knows that the senses are liars. The senses only report the past, the echo of your old vibrations. The Philosopher's Stone creates the future. To forge the stone, you must learn to ignore the report of the senses and live exclusively in the report of your vision. We enter the faith laboratory. These are the protocols for crystallizing intention and manufacturing the red substance of transformation. Modern neuroscience has confirmed an alchemical secret. The brain does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined experience. You are going to create a memory of the future. The holographic immersion technique. 1. The scenario. Choose the final outcome you desire. Example, perfect health in your knees. 2. The state of relaxation. Enter a deep state of calm, alpha, theta. The ideal moment is just before sleep. 3. The action. Imagine a short scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. Do not see yourself healing. See yourself walking vigorously up a mountain. Feel the wind on your face. Feel the pressure of your strong feet against the earth. Feel your heart beating. Hear the sound of your strong breath. Feel the joy of strength. Repeat this scene in a loop, over and over. Make it so real, so dense that when you open your eyes you feel surprised to be in your bed. You must feel like you just were there. For your subconscious, you have just had a real experience. It has registered that walk as a fact. And because the subconscious always seeks to align external reality with the internal record, it will begin to move heaven and earth and biology for that walk to happen in the 3D world. You have planted the seed of the stone. If imagination is the mold, gratitude is the fire that hardens it. Think about it. When do you say thank you? Only when you have already received the gift. Gratitude is the chemical signature that the event has occurred. If you ask, please heal me, you are emitting the signal of lack, I am not healed. The universe responds with more lack. If you give thanks, thank you for my perfect health, you are emitting the signal of reception, I am already healed. The universe responds by confirming that reality. The Thank You Father ritual. Throughout the day when doubt assails you, take out your stone. Tell yourself thank you because it is already done. Do not look at the physical evidence. Look at the internal evidence. Feel the emotion of relief you would feel if the check or the clean diagnosis were handed to you right now. That relief is gratitude. Maintain that state of thank you. It is a state of quiet satisfaction. There is no anxiety in gratitude. One who is grateful does not worry. If you are worried, you are not grateful. You are doubting. Use gratitude as a shield. Every time fear strikes, return it with a thank you. For the stone to solidify, it must not be exposed to the premature light of doubt. You must protect your gestation. This requires a sensory evidence fast. Your current reality is the residue of your thoughts from 5 or 10 years ago. It is an echo of the past. If you react to your current reality, get angry about the debt, cry over the pain, you are re-imprinting the same pattern for the future. You are recycling the lead. The alchemist practices divine indifference to appearances. The unpaid bill arrives. The alchemist looks at it and says, "This is an echo of the past. It does not affect my future wealth. It is paid in my mind." You feel pain in your body. The alchemist says, "This is the residue leaving. My health is already established." Deny the final authority of your senses. Walk through the physical world as if it were an illusion, because it is, and walk through your inner world as if it were the rock, because it is. This controlled madness is the highest sanity of the Creator. Let's be realistic. You are human. Doubt will come. At 3 in the morning, fear will grab your throat. What if this doesn't work? What if I'm crazy? If you fight doubt, you give it energy. If you try to repress it, it grows. Alchemy does not repress, it transmutes. Use the energy of fear to fuel faith. Fear is simply faith in evil. It is a very potent visualization of what you don't want. It has a lot of energy. The pivot technique. When you feel the knot of fear, do not reject it. Take that intense energy and pivot it 180 degrees. Fear asks, what if everything goes wrong? You respond aggressively. What if everything goes right? Use the same emotional intensity. Can you imagine how incredible it will be when it works? Can you imagine the joy? Compel your mind to visualize success with the same obsession with which it visualized failure. Channel the adrenaline of fear into the excitement of achievement. It is the same energy, just with a different direction. Become an inverse paranoid. Believe that the universe is conspiring to help you. Sometimes the mind is too volatile and needs tangible help. The ancients carried amulets. We will use a physical anchor. Find a small stone. It can be a river stone, a quartz crystal, or just a special coin. Wash it. Sit with it in your hand. Enter your state of vision, memory of the future. Feel the gratitude. Feel the power. And while you are at the peak of that emotion, squeeze the stone tightly. Imagine you are engraving that frequency into the mineral structure of the stone. Tell the stone, "You are my certainty. When I touch you, I remember who I am." Carry that stone in your left pocket always. Throughout the day, when the world distracts or frightens you, reach into your pocket. Touch the stone. The hard, cool texture will send an immediate signal to your brain. Certainty. It is a physical reminder of your spiritual reality. It is your grounding. There is a final law in the creation of the stone, the secret. Contained energy grows, scattered energy dies. If you go and tell your friends or family what you are manifesting, they will project their doubts onto you. Their doubts will crack your stone. The alchemist maintains absolute silence about his great work until it is complete. Do not seek external validation. Your own internal validation must be sufficient. Silence generates pressure. That pressure is necessary for crystallization. When you feel the urge to tell, hold it. That contained energy will go straight to manifestation. Tell yourself the closing phrase, consummatum est. It is accomplished. Live with the secret smile of one who has a winning lottery ticket in his pocket and has not yet cashed it. He does not need to shout, he does not need to convince, he just needs to wait for the moment to go to the bank. That tranquility is the highest frequency of faith. Finally, you must make peace with time. Anxiety says, I want it now. Faith says, it is already mine, time is just the delivery process. Understand the law of gestation. If you plant an oak seed, you do not dig it up every morning to see if it has roots. If you do, you kill it. You trust the darkness of the earth. You trust the process. Your vision is the seed. Your subconscious is the earth. Once planted, leave it alone. Do not watch it anxiously. Go about your daily business. Enjoy life. Water the seed with joy, not with worry. If it takes a day, a month, or a year, it does not matter. For the one who knows waiting is not suffering. It is preparation. You are preparing your life to receive the cargo. You are making room in the garage for the new car. You are preparing the body for total health. Chapter 7. The Elixir of Life, Body Regeneration and the Biology of Light. You have transmuted your mind. You have purified your emotions, but now look at your hands, look at your skin. Feel your joints. The heaviest lead a mature human carries is the belief in inevitable biological decline. You wake up with a pain and say, it's old age. You feel tired and say, I'm not who I used to be. You have accepted a contract of programmed obsolescence. You have accepted that your temple become a ruin. The seventh law of the manuscript is the law of regeneration. The body is not a fixed structure. It is a river of atoms that is constantly renewing itself. Illness and accelerated aging are not caused by time, but by the accumulation of dead information in the cells. The elixir of life is the capacity to inject solar consciousness into biological matter. Welcome to the alchemy of potable gold. We will not talk about trendy diets or strenuous exercises. We will talk about how to change the instruction your DNA receives. To heal, you must first stop viewing your body as a solid object. Science confirms that 98% of the atoms in your body are replaced every year. Your liver renews every 6 weeks, your skin every month, your skeleton every few months. Physically, you are not the same person you were last year. You are a new body. So the alchemist's big question is, if my body is new, why do I still have the same old illness? Why does the scar persist? Why does the arthritis remain? The answer is memory. The new cells are born blind. They need instructions, and they take their instructions from the morphogenetic field, your subconscious. If your mind keeps repeating, I am arthritic, I am diabetic, I am old, you are handing the old blueprints to the new workers. You are forcing fresh young matter to adopt the shape of the old pathology. The body does not age due to time. It ages because you keep re-imprinting the pattern of aging day after day with your thought and your word. To rejuvenate, you must break the mold of memory. In alchemical terms, health is a balance between acid, destructive fire, and alkaline, water of life. The greatest corrosive to your body is not junk food, though it helps. It is chronic stress. Stress is fear maintained over time. When you live worried about money, children, or the future, your body is flooded with cortisol. Cortisol is an acid. It burns the telomeres of your DNA. It shuts down the immune system. It halts digestion. Stress tells your cells, we are at war, no time for repair, just survive. The elixir of life is the opposite chemistry. It is the chemistry of security and joy. When you feel deep gratitude, when you laugh, when you love, your body produces DHEA, oxytocin, and growth hormone. These substances are potable gold. They are tissue regenerators. They tell your cells, the war is over, the kingdom is at peace, build cathedrals. The alchemist knows he cannot heal if he is at war. The number one priority for health is not running on the treadmill. It is turning off the war alarm in the brain. Deep relaxation is not a luxury. It is the only state in which the body can repair itself. Your body is a colony of 50 trillion citizens, cells, and you are the king. Your citizens are listening to your throne speech all day. What are you telling them? I'm sick of this back pain. Order more pain, more rejection. I'm falling apart. Order structural disintegration. My stomach is weak. Order digestive incapacity. Your cells are loyal. If you say you are weak, they weaken to prove you right. Healing begins with a change of official discourse. You must start speaking to your body with the authority and love of a good monarch. The blessing of the flesh. Instead of criticizing what isn't working, bless what is. Look at your hands and tell them, thank you for your strength and dexterity. Place your hand on your heart and tell it, thank you for your perfect rhythm and tireless loyalty. When you bless an organ, you send it attention. Attention is energy. Where you put your attention, you put life. Finally, remember your origin. You are a being of condensed light. The food you eat is sunlight processed by plants. The air you breathe is charged with prana, solar energy. Illness is often a lack of light in the system. It is cellular darkness. The elixir of life involves learning to drink light, not just through the eyes and skin, sunbathing, but through visualization. When you visualize golden light filling your body, your brain does not know it is imaginary. It activates the same neurocircuits as if you were in the sun. You can irradiate a tumor with mental light. You can wash a joint with liquid light. This practice, sustained with the faith of the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 6, alters the tissue's vibrational frequency and expels illness, which is low frequency. Illness and decrepitude are not inevitable facts of age, but the crystallization of toxic mental habits and a disconnection from the source. But knowing this is not enough. The physical body is dense. It has inertia. To change its direction, simply thinking positive for a while is not enough. You need to physically intervene in its chemistry. You need to introduce the elixir into the system. The ancient alchemists sought the aurum potabile, potable gold. We know that potable gold is not molten metal. It is conscious light vehiculized through matter. We enter the body laboratory. These are the protocols for turning your daily routine into a massive cellular rejuvenation therapy. 1. Protocol 1. Sacred hydraulics charging the water. Let's start with the most basic and ignored element, water. You are 70% water. Your brain is 80% water. Aging, at a cellular level, is simply a process of desiccation. You are drying out, but simply drinking tap water is not enough. Water is a liquid crystal. It is a recorder. It has memory. The liquid gold ritual. Transform every glass into a dose of medicine. 1. The cup. Serve water in a glass or crystal cup. Plastic is insulating and toxic. 2. The laying on of hands. Hold the glass with both hands. Your hands are energy emitters. By cupping the glass, you create a closed circuit. 3. The projection of desire. Look at the water with the gaze of the magician, Chapter 4. Project the word and feeling of what you need onto the water. Visualize the water shining with a golden or blue light. 4. Conscious ingestion. Drink. Do not gulp it down. Feel the liquid entering your mouth. Feel how it descends. Visualize that it is liquid light entering your bloodstream, reaching every dark cell and turning on a lamp within it. Tell yourself, I drink life, I drink light, I am restored. If you do this with the 2 liters you drink daily, you are performing an act of magic 8 times a day. You are bombarding your body with messages of healing from within. 2. Protocol 2. The cleansing breath alkalizing the temple. The second nutrient of the elixir is air, pneuma, spirit. Illness, cancer, arthritis, inflammation thrives in acidic, anaerobic, oxygen-deprived environments. Stress makes you breathe little and poorly. It acidifies your blood. Old age is in large part a slow suffocation. You must learn to wash your blood with air. The bellows technique. Do this 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening. Sit straight. 1. Inhale deeply through the nose, filling the abdomen, then the ribs, then the chest. Fill it all. 2. Hold the air for 3 seconds. In that pause, visualize the oxygen collecting the trash, toxins, pain, fatigue from your cells. 3. Exhale forcefully through the mouth, making a sound of release. Ha! Visualize that you are expelling gray smoke. 4. Repeat 10 times. In the last repetition, inhale golden light and hold it for as long as possible. This practice alkalizes your blood in minutes. It reduces cortisol. It awakens the brain. It tells your body, there is plenty of fuel, no need to decline. Protocol 3. The organ blessing, the inner dialogue. The body is not a solid unit. It is a community. And in that community there are members who are suffering. Your knee hurts. Your liver is fatty. Your heart is tired. What is your relationship with them? Generally, it is war. You are attacking your own wounded soldiers. That generates more inflammation. The alchemist practices somatic diplomacy. The healing hand ritual. 1. Place your hand over the affected area. The warmth of your hand attracts blood and attention. 2. Smile at that part of your body. Send a wave of physical gratitude. 3. Speak to it. Dear liver or knee or heart, I see you, I know you are working hard. Forgive me for burdening you with my anger or bad food. I love you. I release you. I give you permission to relax. Return to your pattern of perfection. Thank you. Speaking to it with love reduces local resistance. Capillaries dilate. The immune system can enter. The body cannot heal what you hate. It can only heal what you love. Protocol 4. The death fast, the informational diet. Let's talk about what enters through your eyes and ears. If you are 60 and spend the day watching medication ads, news about diseases, and listening to friends talk about their operations and funerals, you are ingesting massive doses of death. Your subconscious receives those images and says, understood, old age is pain, pills, and decay. Copying program. To rejuvenate, you must do an illness fast. Stop the pharmacy ads. Mute the TV or look away. Don't let them tell you what will hurt you. Stop the organ recital. When you meet friends your age, prohibit conversations about illness. If they start talking about their ailments, change the subject or leave. You are protecting your cell phone lines from negative information. Seek vitality models. Watch videos of 80-year-olds running marathons, dancing, starting businesses. Fill your mind with images of the golden age. Protocol 5. The mobilization of chi, breaking rigidity. Physical rigidity is the manifestation of mental rigidity. Fear freezes. Trauma contracts. The old body is a body that has stopped flowing. You need conscious movement. The Phoenix practices flow. Dedicate 15 minutes a day to moving all your joints. Rotate your neck, move your spine, stretch your arms. Do it with the intention of breaking the crust. Visualize that with every movement, you are breaking an invisible layer of calcium and fear that enveloped you. I am flexible. I am fluid. Water runs through me. A body that moves with joy is a body that refuses to die. Protocol 6. Regenerative sleep, the night workshop. We return to the night. Sleep is the moment of repair, but most people sleep poorly. They lie down tense with heavy digestion and a worried mind. In that state, the body does not repair. It only survives. You must prepare your body for divine surgery. The nocturnal petition. Just before falling asleep, do a body scan. Release everything, and give the final order to the engineer. I hand over this body to infinite intelligence. While I sleep, I order the complete repair of my tissues. I order the rejuvenation of my cells. Tomorrow I will wake up in a younger, stronger, and healthier body. Thank you. Trust that, during those 8 hours, a team of celestial mechanics is working on you. If you fall asleep with the certainty of healing, you will wake up healed. Protocol. The posture of dignity, the king's biomechanics. Finally, observe your posture. Old age has a posture. Slumped shoulders, head down, short, shuffling steps, gaze fixed on the ground. It is the posture of defeat. It is the posture of one shrinking to take up less space before disappearing. That posture tells your brain, I am weak, I am sad, I am finished. And the brain reduces testosterone and increases cortisol. The Phoenix adopts the posture of dignity. Even if it hurts, make the conscious effort. Lift your head. Look at the horizon. Pull your shoulders back. Open your chest. Walk with deliberate steps, not shuffled. Occupy space. This power pose tricks your biology. It tells your brain, I am still the alpha. I am still the king-queen. I am in control. And the brain responds by sending waves of energy and confidence. Do not stoop before life. Stand tall until your last breath. Verticality is the connection between earth and sky. Chapter 8. The multiplication of the loaves, abundance and the law of appreciation. You live with the fear that it will run out. You count the coins, you contract. That contraction is a signal of death. An organism that stops growing begins to die. A personal economy that stops circulating stagnates. The 8th law of the manuscript breaks the curse of scarcity. Abundance is not a quantity to be acquired. It is a quality to be tuned into. The universe knows nothing of inflation or pensions. It only knows multiplication. What you appreciate expands. What you retain with fear rots. Welcome to the alchemy of the multiplication of the loaves. The first thing you must transmute is the belief in fixed income. You say, I only receive my pension, or my salary is this and it won't change. To the alchemist, this is blasphemy. To say your provision is fixed is to tell the infinite source. Your power has a limit, and that limit is my monthly check. Money does not come from your employer or the government. Those are just the current channels. Money is divine energy in circulation. If one channel is narrow, your pension, the source can open 1,000 new channels, an unexpected gift, an investment that matures, an idea you sell, a debt that is forgiven, a finding. The phoenix never says, I don't have enough. The phoenix says, my supply is infinite and the channels are unlimited. If one door closes, a portal opens. You must remain open to surprise. At 60 or 80, you can receive the greatest fortune of your life, not through the sweat of your brow, but through the resonance of your wisdom. Recall the miracle of the loaves and fishes. There was a hungry crowd and only 5 loaves. Logic, the ego, said, it's not enough. There is scarcity. What did the master do? He did not look at the empty basket. He did not complain about the lack. He did not economize crumbs. He looked to the heaven, the source, gave thanks, and broke the bread. Here is the technical multiplication formula. 1. Withdraw sight from lack. If you look at your empty account and feel fear, you multiply the emptiness. 2. Connect with the source. Remember that universal substance is inexhaustible. 3. Bless the little you have. Gratitude is the yeast. First, circulate it. Break the bread. Start giving and using what is there without fear. Most people do the opposite. They look at the basket, the account, get scared, curse the economy, and hide the bread. Stop spending, stop living. The result is that the bread hardens and feeds no one. To multiply, you have to bless and release. In finance, appreciation means an increase in value. In metaphysics, it is the same. What you appreciate, value, give thanks for, appreciates, grows in value. What you despise, complain about, ignore, depreciates, loses value. If you have an old house and complain about it all day, it's so ugly, it's so small, you are depreciating it vibrationally. It will break. It will cost you money. If you have that same house and appreciate it, thank you for this roof, thank you for the warmth. The house begins to shine, it maintains itself better, and mysteriously it becomes the magnet for a better house. The alchemist walks through his life, appreciating everything he touches. He appreciates his old clothes and they last longer. He appreciates his money and it yields more. Complaint is poverty. Appreciation is wealth. You don't need more things to be rich. You need more appreciation for the things you already have. A man who enjoys tea with gratitude is richer than a millionaire who drinks champagne with boredom. Finally, you must recognize your new capital. You no longer have the brute force of your 20s, but you have something the market values more. Discernment. The world is full of young people running fast in the wrong direction. You know where north is. Your experience, your overcome mistakes, your calmness, that is gold. People pay for calmness. They pay for direction. They pay for history. Do not underestimate your market value. Your second life can be the most economically prosperous because now you don't sell your time, which is limited. You sell your essence, which is unique. Stop thinking like a worker. How many hours do I work? And start thinking like a magician. How much value do I contribute with my mere presence? Scarcity is not a lack of resources, but a lack of flow. We know that fixed income is an illusion of the ego and that the source is infinite. But intellectual knowledge does not pay the bills. Financial anxiety is a physical vibration that lodges in the stomach and shuts down the chakras of creativity. To break the cycle of financial contraction, you must intervene at the level of daily rituals. Money is condensed energy, and energy responds to the treatment you give it. If you treat money with fear, it flees. If you treat it with contempt, money is dirty. It avoids you. If you treat it with reverence and joy, it multiplies. We enter the prosperity laboratory. These are the protocols for healing your wallet and converting your expenses into karmic investments. 1. Protocol 1. The sacred wallet, the temple of money. The first step to financial alchemy is physical. Take out your wallet or purse now, look at it. How is it? Is it old, broken, full of wrinkled receipts, expired cards and trash? Are the bills balled up, dirty and disorganized? If your wallet is chaos, you are sending a clear message to your subconscious. I do not respect money. I have no room for wealth. My economy is a disaster. Money, as high-frequency energy, feels uncomfortable in a dirty, chaotic environment. The cleansing ritual. Empty your wallet today. Throw away the old papers, they are dead energy. If the wallet is broken, buy a new one. It must be worthy, beautiful, and in perfect condition. It must be a throne for your money. The arrangement of bills. Never keep money wrinkled. Smooth the bills with your hands. Order them from largest to smallest denomination. Put them all facing the same direction. This obsessive act of order is an act of reverence. You are telling the money, I value you. I take care of you. You are safe here. When you open a tidy wallet and see the money sitting with dignity, your brain receives a dopamine hit. It feels, I have control, I have wealth. That micro-sensation of order is the magnet that attracts more order, more money. 2. Protocol, the bill blessing transmuting debt. The moment of greatest energy loss for the average person is the moment of paying. The bill for electricity, gas, insurance arrives. Your automatic reaction is contraction. How expensive! Thieves! I'm running out of money. That contraction is a prayer for poverty. You are cursing the outgoing flow, and if you curse the exit, you block the entrance. The alchemist performs the transmutation of payment. Take the bill in your hands or look at the screen. Change the perception. Don't see loss of money. See the service received. That electricity bill means you had light, heat, television, and comfort for a month. That is a miracle. The payment seal ritual. Before paying, say mentally or write on the bill, thank you for the service received. I pay this with joy. I bless this money and release it to do good in the world. I declare that it returns to me multiplied tenfold, under grace and in perfect manner. Feel the relief of being able to pay. There are millions of people who cannot pay that bill. You can. That makes you rich. By paying with gratitude, you convert a commercial transaction into a spiritual act. You transform debt into circulation. The universe records that vibration of gratitude and, by the law of balance, rushes to refill the void you have created with more resources. 3. Protocol 3. The game of opulence, tricking the thermostat. Your brain has a financial thermostat. It is set to a comfort level. If you have too little, you get scared. But curiously, if you have much more than usual, you also get scared and tend to spend it to return to your normal level. To raise the wealth level, you must recalibrate the thermostat. You must get used to the sensation of opulence. But how do you feel opulent if you have a tight budget? By using quality over quantity. You don't need to buy a yacht to feel rich. You just need moments of high quality. The gold coffee exercise. Instead of having 3 cheap bad coffees in a noisy bar, have one at the most luxurious hotel in your city. Pay the extra price. It is not an expense. It is a tuition fee for learning. Sit in the velvet armchair. Look at the high ceilings. Feel the attentive service. While you drink that coffee, absorb the atmosphere. Tell yourself, I belong here. This is my natural frequency. Beauty and calm are my right. Your nervous system begins to register luxury as safe and familiar, not as forbidden. Buy a single bottle of good wine instead of 5 bad ones. Buy a single silk shirt instead of 3 polyester ones. Raise the standard of what touches your skin and your palate. Opulence is a sensory experience. If you give your body the experience of wealth, even in microdoses, your subconscious will start moving you toward opportunities that sustain that new reality. 4. Protocol 4. The magic bill, the seed in the pocket. This is a classic technique of prosperity masters, and it works through pure behavioral psychology. Always carry a high-denomination bill in your wallet, in the secret compartment, the king's chamber. The rule: never spend it. It is there just to be seen. Every time you open your wallet and see the bill, your subconscious registers, "I have money." When you pass a store and see something you like, touch the bill in your pocket and say mentally, "I could buy it if I wanted to. I have the money here, but I choose not to today." This destroys the "I can't" vibration. You change "I can't buy it" poverty to "I choose not to buy it" power saving. Knowing you have the purchasing power gives you a background tranquility. That tranquility eliminates the anxiety of scarcity. And when you eliminate the anxiety, you stop repelling money. 5. Protocol 5. Conscious circulation, the gift. Fear of old age often brings the fear of running out. This leads to stinginess. The stingy old person contracts, dries up, and isolates himself. The phoenix knows that the only way to keep water fresh is to let it run. You must practice strategic giving. Even if your budget is tight, allocate a small percentage, even 1% or a few coins, to give away. Give a generous tip to someone who served you well. Buy an unexpected gift for a grandchild or a friend. Donate to a cause that moves you. Why? Because the act of giving is the supreme demonstration of sufficiency. Only someone who has can give. When you give, you are shouting to the universe, "I have more than enough. I am so full I can share." That is the most potent signal of wealth that exists. And the universe, upon receiving that signal, sends you more to replenish your reservoir because you have proven to be a reliable channel of distribution. Stinginess cuts the flow. Generosity lubricates it. 6. Protocol 6. The valuation of experience, your new asset. In the modern economy, knowledge is money. You have 50, 60 years of knowledge. Stop thinking that your only way to generate value is to lift boxes or be in an office for 8 hours. Your experience is a monetizable product. Take an inventory of what you know. Do you know how to cook? Do you know how to manage crises? Do you know how to listen? Do you know how to fix things? There are young people who would pay to learn what you know, or to have someone solve what you solve in 5 minutes. Consider mentoring, consulting, or simply trading services. Recognize that your wisdom is gold. If you don't value your experience, no one else will. If you present yourself to the world as an old person who needs work, you will be paid little. If you present yourself as a veteran who offers solutions, you will be paid well. Change your label. 7. Protocol 7. Gratitude for the invisible, the creation. Finally, the alchemist does not wait to see the money to give thanks for it. He gives thanks for the invisible provision. He knows that air is free, the sun is free, love is free. He recognizes that wealth is much more than currency. The Abundance Journal. Every night, write down 3 rich things you experienced. Today I had free time, wealth of time. Today I walked without pain, wealth of health. Today I ate a delicious apple, wealth of food. By training your brain to hunt for wealth in all its forms, you turn it into a bloodhound for opportunities. Where you put the attention, you put the energy. If you focus on the wealth you already have, the wealth grows. 8. The Pact of Sufficiency. I have enough. The ultimate goal of this chapter is to lead you to the state of sufficiency. Poverty is not having little. It is desiring more than one has with anxiety. Wealth is not having much. It is feeling that what one has is enough and enjoying it. There are millionaires who live in spiritual poverty because they feel that it is never enough. And there are modest people who live like kings because they know how to enjoy their bread and their roof. The Phoenix declares, "I have everything I need right now to be happy. My happiness is not hijacked by the future. I am rich now." This declaration breaks the chains of consumerism and envy. It sets you free. And curiously, life gives more to the person who feels sufficient. Because it is safe to give them more, they will not go crazy or become greedy. Chapter 9. The Master's Legacy, Giving to Receive and the Law of Flow. You have spent decades accumulating. You have accumulated possessions, knowledge, and scars. Your ego tells you that the goal of life is to have more, but your soul at this stage of maturity begins to feel a different restlessness. You feel that the conqueror suit no longer fits. You are no longer excited to win another battle just for yourself. The ninth law of the manuscript reveals the secret of historical immortality. The universe is a flow, not a warehouse. Everything that enters must exit transformed. If you retain your wisdom, you block the flow and become a dead sea. To receive eternal life, you must surrender your temporary life to the service of others. The master is not the one who knows the most, but the one who gives the most. Welcome to the design of the master's legacy. In the Middle East, there are two seas fed by the same river, the Jordan. The Sea of Galilee receives water and lets it flow out. It is full of life and fish. The Dead Sea receives water and retains it. It has no outlet. It is salty, dense, and no fish can live in it. Many human beings reach old age having become dead seas. They have received much from life, but they are afraid to let go. They cling to their money, their stories, their status. They become bitter and toxic. Toxicity is simply stagnant energy. The alchemist understands that to stay fresh, young, and vital, he must have an open drain. You must empty yourself. You must give out what you know. You must give what you have. A physical law exists. The vacuum aspirates. If you empty yourself of your wisdom today, by teaching, sharing, you create a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill with new wisdom and energy tomorrow. The one who gives is renewed. The one who retains ages. In the first half of your life, you played the hero. The hero goes out into the world, slays the dragon, and gets the treasure. It is an egocentric energy, necessary to form your identity. But if you continue to play the hero at 60, you look ridiculous and tired. You no longer have to slay dragons. In the second half, you become the guide or the sage. The guide does not fight. The guide shows the new hero the map. Yoda does not fight with lightsabers as much as Luke. Yoda holds the wisdom that makes Luke's victory possible. Your mission now is to find the young heroes, children, grandchildren, employees, students, and transfer your gold to them. Your transmuted pain, Chapter 1, is the map they need not to get lost in the labyrinth. When you accept this role, you stop competing with the young and start empowering them. And paradoxically, by stopping competing, you gain absolute respect. The hero admires the guide. The king honors the prophet. When people talk about legacy, they think of money or property. That is the minor legacy. Money is spent, houses are sold. The alchemist's true gold is the vibrational legacy. What flavor do you leave in people's mouths when you leave a room? Do you leave peace? Do you leave courage? Do you leave clarity? Your legacy is the psychic imprint you leave on others. There are grandparents who 30 years after their death are still the moral compass of their grandchildren. What would Grandpa, Grandma do in this situation? That is immortality. You have installed your software into the hardware of future generations. Your job now is to polish that imprint. Ensure that your interaction with every human being is a transmission of light. You don't need to be famous to leave a massive legacy. If you help a single person heal, you have changed the future of humanity, because that healed person will raise healthy children who will create a healthy world. The butterfly effect of your goodness is incalculable. The great fear of old age is loneliness. No one visits me. No one calls me. Loneliness is the result of waiting to receive. It is the beggar's posture. Please, give me attention. The master inverts the polarity. He becomes the sun. The sun does not beg for planets to look at it. The sun shines, and by gravity and heat, the planets orbit it. If you feel lonely, ask yourself, whom can I serve today? You call someone to listen to their problems, not to tell yours. You cook for someone. You teach something for free. The moment you switch to giving mode, you become magnetic. People seek out the giver. People flee the beggar energetically. If you become a source of worth, wisdom, and love, you will have to set visiting hours because everyone will want to warm themselves by your fire. Generosity is the definitive cure for isolation. You are no longer the warrior who accumulates trophies for himself. You are the guardian of the fire who must pass the torch so the tribe does not freeze in the dark. But here arises the doubt of the humble alchemist. What do I have to give? My life has been ordinary. I haven't discovered continents or won Nobel Prizes. Who would want my legacy? This thought is the last veil of lead covering your gold. History is not written only by generals. It is sustained by those who know how to sow, who know how to cure a fever, who know how to forgive a betrayal, who know how to keep a family united. Your ordinary life is an encyclopedia of survival, and there are millions of young people today who do not know how to survive the basics. Your normalcy is their miracle. We enter the Legacy Workshop. These are the protocols to identify your unique medicine, package it and deliver it to the world, ensuring your vibrational immortality. 1. Identifying the unique medicine, your mastery zone. First, we must cure the imposter syndrome. You think that to be a master you need to be perfect. False. The master is not the one who never fell. The master is the one who got up and drew the map of the crater. Your authority does not come from your perfection. It comes from your scars. The crater map exercise. Sit down and review your life. Look for the 3 darkest moments. That time your heart broke and you thought you would die, but you didn't die. That time you lost professional direction. That time you had to start from scratch. Now answer, how did you get out? What did you think? What did you do? What did you cling to? That exit strategy is your medicine. If you survived a rebellious child while still loving them, your medicine is unconditional patience. If you survived bankruptcy and smiled again, your medicine is resilience. If you learn to cook with little money and host memorable parties, your medicine is hospitality. The world is full of people with broken hearts, bankruptcies, and loneliness. They don't need book theory. They need your practice. Your medicine is specific. Do not try to teach what you do not know. Teach what you have lived in your own flesh. That has a weight of truth that no one can refute. 2. Protocol 1. The ethical will, the navigator's letter. Everyone worries about the financial will, who gets the house, but almost no one makes an ethical will. Ancient patriarchs and matriarchs left letters to their descendants, explaining not what they owned, but what they believed. The Magna Carta Ritual. Dedicate this month to writing a letter, or recording a audio for your children, grandchildren, or the next generation in general. It is not a scolding letter. It is a letter of secrets. Write, what I learned about love. What I learned about money and what doesn't matter about money. What I learned about God or the mystery. My biggest regrets, so they don't repeat them. My greatest sources of joy. This letter is the most valuable object you will leave behind. A house can be sold, and the money spent. But a letter that says, son, daughter, when you feel you can't go on, remember that our blood is strong, and remember that time That letter is a nuclear battery that your descendants can use in their moments of crisis, 50 years after you are gone. Writing this gives you a massive sense of purpose. You are coding your soul. You are saving your personal library from the fire of oblivion. 3. Protocol 2. Invisible mentorship, the art of suggestion. A common mistake of the elder is wanting to impose their wisdom. Listen to me, ignorant youth. This generates rejection. The young ego needs to believe it discovered the way itself. The master practices invisible mentorship. Do not lecture, sow. Instead of giving the answer, tell a story. Instead of saying, don't do that, ask a question. What would happen if? Leave breadcrumbs, clues, and let them follow. The just being there technique. Sometimes your legacy is simply being the stable presence. Be the aunt or grandparent in whose house there is always peace. Be the veteran colleague who never panics when the company is in crisis. Your stability is the teaching. Young people watch you. They watch you much more than you think. They watch how you treat the waiter. They watch how you react to bad news. If they see that you, with everything you have lived through, maintain calm and a smile, they absorb that calm by osmosis. Do not underestimate the power of your silent example. You are the anchor of your environment. 4. Protocol 3. The garden project, the external work. Legacy also needs a physical or social vehicle. You need a project that is not for you. If all your projects are for your benefit, your health, your money, your fun, you will feel empty. The phoenix starts a garden project. A garden, literal or metaphorical, is something you plant, care for, but whose fruit is for others. The literal garden. Plant trees, grow flowers in your neighborhood, beautify public space. The community garden. Organize family dinners. Be the glue that unites cousins who don't speak. Create the Christmas tradition in your house. The intellectual garden. Start a book club. Teach children to read. Share your craft. When you work in your garden, depression disappears. Depression is often an obsession with oneself. My pain, my loneliness. When you focus on caring for something external, you forget yourself. And in that forgetting, you find happiness. The gardener is never sad while there are plants to water. Find something that is more fragile than you and care for it. That is the cure for the old age of the spirit. 5. The economy of karma, giving to regenerate. There is a biological secret to giving. It is called the helper's high. When you do something for another without expecting anything in return, your brain releases a cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. This reduces inflammation, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens the immune system. Altruism is intelligent biological selfishness. It is good for you. But for it to work, the giving must be pure. If you give hoping to be thanked or visited or recognized, that is not giving. That is commerce. And if you are not paid, not thanked, you feel cheated and become bitter. The alchemist gives and forgets. He throws the bread upon the waters and does not wait for it to return. He knows that the act of launching is the reward. The feeling of abundance you feel when you give is the immediate payment. I give because I have. I give because I am a river, not a pond. This attitude frees you from disappointment. 6. The vow of service, die empty. There is a book and a philosophy called Die Empty. The idea is that the cemetery is the richest place in the world, full of unwritten books, unsung songs, unshared inventions, and unexpressed loves. The phoenix takes the vow not to enrich the cemetery. The vow ritual. Every morning, in your morning ritual, chapter 8, add this question: what part of me can I give to the world today? It might be a smile to the cashier. It might be a call of encouragement. It might be working on your book. Do not save anything for tomorrow. At your age, tomorrow is a hypothesis. Today is reality. If you have a kind word, say it today. If you have a nice suit, wear it today. Empty yourself every day. Go to bed at night completely spent, but spent in light. That happy exhaustion of one who has given everything is the best sedative in the world. 7. The transition of power. Blessing the successor. A difficult part of legacy is knowing when to step back and let go. The old king who clings to the throne and won't let the prince grow becomes a tyrant. The wise elder knows when to step aside. In your company, your family, your organization, identify your successor, and instead of competing with them or criticizing them, they don't do it like I did. Bless them. Transfer your power to them. Tell them, I have done my part. Now it is your turn. I trust you. I give you my authority. Do it your way. I have your back. This act of humility and empowerment is what makes you a legend. Leaders who create leaders are remembered forever. Leaders who only create followers are forgotten when they die. Your greatness is measured by the greatness of those you have lifted up. 8. The legacy of joy, the final teaching. Finally, the most important legacy you can leave in a sad, frightened world is your joy. If you reach 70 or 80 and are bitter, you are teaching the young that life is a scam, that in the end everything goes wrong. You are perpetuating the fear of living. But if you reach that age and despite the aches and losses, you have a sparkle in your eyes. If you laugh, if you enjoy a glass of wine, if you dance, even if your knees hurt, you are giving them the greatest lesson of all. Life is worth living. Don't be afraid. The journey is hard, but it is beautiful. Your joy is proof of the Spirit's victory over matter. It is proof that the transmutation works. Be the mischievous elder, the elder who winks, the elder who does not take death too seriously. That is the master everyone wants to be like. Chapter 10. The mystical union living in peace. Modern society, in its childlike terror, has hidden death. It has turned it into a medical failure, a taboo, something that shouldn't happen. By hiding it, they have stolen the depth of life from us. One who lives fleeing death lives fleeing reality. He lives with background anxiety, clinging to matter like a castaway to a plank. The Manuscript of Transmutation closes with the 10th law, the law of continuity. Death is an optical illusion of limited consciousness. You are not the body that is born and wears out. You are the eternal witness who observes the journey. The phoenix never dies, it only sheds old plumage to return to the original fire. The end of the caterpillar is the birth of the butterfly. It is not an end, it is a graduation. Welcome to the mystical union. To live in peace, true peace, not mere calm, you must know what you are. Imagine a deep-sea diver. To go to the bottom of the ocean, he needs a heavy suit, a helmet, lead boots, and hoses. The suit is clumsy, it rusts, it wears out with use. One day, the suit is no longer functional. Does the diver die when he takes off the suit? No, the diver ascends. He returns to the surface, to the sunlight and the open air, where he moves weightlessly and without limits. Your body is the diving suit. It is the biological vehicle necessary to operate in this dense, heavy dimension of Earth. You have cared for your suit, Chapter 7. You have used it to work and love. But you are not the suit. You are the diver, consciousness. The fear of old age is simply the suit's fear of being hung in the closet. But you, the inhabitant, are indestructible. When you understand this viscerally, death ceases to be a tragedy and becomes a liberation. It is taking off tight shoes after a long walk. How can you be sure that you are the diver? Perform the witness test now. Close your eyes. Recall a scene from when you were 5 years old. Watch yourself playing. Now ask yourself, who is the one looking at that memory? That self who observes, does he have an age? Your 5-year-old body disappeared. Your cells changed 1,000 times. Your mind of that time no longer exists. But the observer, that silent sensation of I am, is identical. It has no wrinkles. It has no gray hair. It has no time. It is the eternal witness. The alchemist lives identified with the witness, not the movie. When you look in the mirror and see the passage of time, the witness smiles and says, "The vehicle is changing. I remain intact." This disidentification is the key to absolute peace. Whatever happens in the world of forms, your core is unalterable. Far from being a morbid topic, the awareness of finitude is life's greatest aphrodisiac. Water tastes better in the desert because it is scarce. Days taste better when you know they are not infinite. The shaman said, "Use death as your counselor." When you have to make a decision, ask your death, who walks on your left an arm's length away. Death, do I have time to worry about this triviality? Death, do I have time to be angry at my child? Death always answers, no, you have no time, you only have now, make it count. This awareness eliminates the junk from your life. It makes you brave, it makes you say, I love you today. It makes you forgive today. It makes you eat the dessert today. Living with death on your shoulder does not depress you. It wakes you up. It snaps you out of the somnambulism of believing I'll do it tomorrow. Finally, the mystical union leads you to a state of total acceptance. Most people live fighting with reality. I don't want to get old. I don't want this to change. That resistance is suffering. Peace arrives when you surrender to the flow of the universe. It is the state of saying yes. Yes to life, yes to old age, yes to death when it comes, yes to the cycle of the seasons. Autumn is not worse than spring. It is different. It has fruit, golden colors, freshness. One who accepts autumn enjoys autumn. One who fights autumn, wishing it were spring, lives in a mental hell. The mystical union is the understanding that you are not a separate wave that is going to crash against the rock and die. You are the ocean. The wave rises, is born, has a form, life, and falls back, dies. But the water never dies. The water only returns to the totality. You are the water. When you understand this, fear disappears. And where there is no fear, only love and peace remain. Intellectual knowledge of immortality is not enough to calm the human animal that lives within you. Your biological body has a fear program of dissolution. Your ego has terror of being forgotten. And this underlying fear, this constant hum of anxiety about the end, acts as an anchor that prevents you from flying high in your second life. To live without fear, you must practice the end. The Stoic masters called it memento mori. Tibetan monks call it the bardo. In the Manuscript of Transmutation, we call it the rehearsal of freedom. If you rehearse the transition, fear disappears. Fear is always fear of the unknown. By making it known, you domesticate it. By familiarizing yourself with the act of letting go, you realize that letting go is not losing, it is lightening the load. We enter the Transcendence Workshop. These are the final protocols to cleanse your energy, order your exit, and live with the absolute lightness of one who has his bags packed and passport in hand, ready for the adventure, whether here or elsewhere. 1. Protocol 1. The Little Death at Night, the Daily Rehearsal. Every night, nature offers you a perfect opportunity to practice the final detachment without risk. Sleep is the twin brother of death. Think about it. When you fall into deep sleep, you lose consciousness of your body. You lose your name, you lose your possessions. You enter darkness and silence. You stop being someone and become no one. And yet, you are not afraid to sleep. You seek that rest. You blindly trust that you will wake up. Why fear death if it is the same process mechanically and spiritually? It is simply a sleep from which you wake up elsewhere. The alchemist uses sleep as a flight simulator. The nightly surrender ritual. Tonight, when you lie down, do it with the reverence of a sacred ritual. 1. The Pharaoh's position. Lie on your back. Cross your hands over your chest or leave them at your sides, palms up. Feel gravity pulling you toward the earth's center. 2. Conscious stripping. Visualize that you are taking off the character's clothes you used today. Say mentally, I release the name of your name. I am not that name now. I release my body. I leave it resting on the mattress. 3. The delivery of consciousness. As you feel the tide of sleep rise, do not resist. Let go. Tell yourself the crossing phrase, I return to the source. I surrender to the great current. I trust that life sustains me even if I do not control it. I am free. This voluntary act of releasing control every night trains your ego for the final surrender. You learn at a cellular level that letting go is not dying. It is resting. It is going home. The more you practice this little death, the more you will lose the fear of the great death. 2. Protocol 2. The Art of Decumulation, Traveling Light. During the first half of life, the instruction was to accumulate. Houses, cars, trophies, furniture, clothes. In the second half, accumulation becomes stagnation. The things you possess end up possessing you. To prepare for the phoenix's flight, you must lighten the load. You cannot take off if you have rocks in your pockets. The alchemist practices conscious decumulation, dose-tardening or death cleaning, but done with joy. Start giving things away. Don't wait to die for your children to fight over your things. Give them the things now. Enjoy watching them use them. Enjoy the joy of giving with warm hands, not with the cold hands of a will. The exercise of material liberation. Give away that watch you no longer use to someone who admired it. Donate the books that transformed you, so they transform others. Simplify your house, leave empty spaces. Every object you release frees a quantity of psychic energy that was tied to it. Your house becomes more spacious. Your mind becomes clearer. You realize a liberating truth. You are not your things. This gradual detachment trains you for the final detachment. Real possession is the capacity to enjoy without clinging. 3. Protocol 3. Karmic Hygiene, Cycle Closing. The greatest terror of death is not the end of the light, but the unresolved. What weighs on the deathbed are the unspoken words. A phoenix travels light. He leaves no loose ends. The protocol for the second life demands radical karmic hygiene. Don't wait for the medical diagnosis to settle your affairs. Do it today. Living with an emotional zero balance is the greatest freedom that exists. The peace audit. Make a list of pending accounts. Forgiveness. Is there any resentment you are still holding? Release it today. Don't take that poison to the other side. Love. Who haven't you told you love them? Tell them today. Make your love explicit. Apology. Who did you hurt? Apologize. Cleanse the energetic record. Living up to date emotionally gives you an intoxication of freedom. It means that if you were to leave tonight, you would leave clean. That feeling of mission accomplished eliminates background anxiety. You can look death in the face and say, "You don't scare me because you owe me nothing and I owe you nothing. We are at peace. Whenever you want, I am ready." Theta Protocol 4. Memento Mori, the totem of truth. The ancient Stoics had a practice called Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. For the alchemist, it is vitalizing. The phoenix places a physical reminder in his life. Its function is not to depress you, but to wake you up. When you get angry over a trifle, look at your totem. The totem will ask you, are you really going to spend one of your last days angry about this triviality? Immediately the perspective is corrected. The nonsense becomes irrelevant. Anger dissipates. You return to the essential. To love, to create, to enjoy, to serve. Death is the supreme filter that separates gold from chaff. Use it as your priority consultant. 5. Protocol 5. Identification with space. I am the sky. To lose the fear of bodily destruction, you must stop identifying with the object, body-mind, and start identifying with the space, consciousness. Physical pain and illness can attack the body, but they cannot touch the space. The Sky and Clouds Meditation. Close your eyes. Imagine your consciousness is the blue sky, infinite, still, and untouchable. Your thoughts, emotions, and physical pains are clouds passing through the sky. The clouds are born, change shape, and die. The sky remains. You are the sky. Your body is a dense cloud that will one day dissipate, but you, the space that contained and observed the body, will remain. This distance allows you to live physical experiences without being psychologically destroyed by them. 6. Protocol. From paranoia to pronoia, trusting the universe's logistics. The fear of death is, at its root, a lack of trust in the intelligence of the universe. The alchemist adopts pronoia, the belief that the universe conspires in his favor. If the infinite intelligence brought you here with such perfection and care, why do you believe it will abandon you in the next step? Adopt the attitude of the curious explorer. Change terror for curiosity. Tell yourself, I have explored this physical world. Now I wonder what will be on the next level. I wonder what new colors I will see. When you substitute terror of annihilation with curiosity for the transition, the vibration of your old age changes radically. You become someone who is packing for an exciting trip. Trust the logistics of the universe. If it knew how to give you birth, it knows how to give you rebirth. 7. Protocol 7. The state of ready to leave, happy to stay. This is the final state of mastery. Nirvana in life. The phoenix lives in the center. I am ready to leave today, and I am happy to stay 100 more years. There is no rush to leave, no fear of staying, no attachment, no rejection. It is total availability. You live every day as if it were the last, with intensity and gratitude, and at the same time you plan as if you were going to live forever, planting trees and learning new things. This paradox makes you invincible. Death cannot rob you of anything because you have already surrendered everything. Life cannot tire you because you do not carry it. You flow with it. We have reached the end of these pages, but the beginning of your true life. Close your eyes for an instant and remember the person you were when you started listening to this audiobook. That person likely felt heavy, burdened by the lead of the years, frightened by the passage of time, believing their best days were behind them in the fog of youth. That person believed that old age was a shipwreck. Now open your eyes. That person has died. He has been transmuted in the fire of your consciousness. In this alchemical journey you have discovered the secret that has been kept from us. Maturity is not decline. It is mastery. You have learned that your scars are not flaws, but proof that you were forged in the crucible of life to contain a wisdom that the young cannot bear. You have learned to use the solvent of forgiveness to cleanse your heart of ancient poisons. You have forged the philosopher's stone of an unwavering faith, capable of bending reality. You have drunk the elixir of life, ordering your cells to ignite with the light of your spirit. And finally, you have looked death in the face and discovered that it is not an executioner, but an ally that pushes you to live with a fierce and sacred intensity. You are no longer an old man or old woman waiting for the end. Those words no longer define you. You are now an alchemist. You are the salt of the earth. You are the guardian of the fire. The world out there is cold, confused, and dark. It is full of people running without direction, chasing false brilliance. That world needs you. It doesn't need you to be young again. It needs you to be immensely you. It needs your calmness. It needs your gaze that knows that everything is going to be all right. It needs your example of how to navigate the storm without losing true north. Your wrinkle is your medal. Your silence is your power. Your presence is your gift. Do not save this gold. Do not retire into the shadows. Go out into the world, walk with your spine straight, with the dignity of one who has conquered his own demons. Laugh loudly, love fearlessly, give with open hands. And when someone asks you what your secret is, why you shine so brightly when others fade, tell them the truth. I discovered that I was never the lead. I was always the gold. I was just waiting for enough fire to remember it. The laboratory closes, life opens. The great work is you. If this manuscript has ignited your flame, do not let it go out. Seal your commitment right now. Subscribe to this channel, because the path of the sage never ends, and we will continue to bring wood for your fire. Like this video as a signal to the universe that you accept your new identity. Share this treasure. There are millions of mature souls believing they are finished. Be the one who hands them the key to their rebirth. Thank you for your life. Thank you for your transformation.